How's it going, everyone? It's Alex with AC Flips. I'm a full-time six-figure Amazon seller, and in today's video, I wanted to show you the importance of Keepa Product Finder. I would definitely recommend this tool for more experienced sellers, but even if you learn it early on, it's very good for sourcing and helping you find profitable leads when you're kind of in a rut, reverse sourcing yourself or manual sourcing on websites. So I wanted to show you how to utilize Keepa Product Finder, as well as go through an example prompt to see the amount of products we can find through a search. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel and let's jump on to Keepa Product Finder. The first thing you want to do before you look at any of this data is to determine what products or what categories you want to be searching for. Because the more defined you are, the better products and the better quality of products you're going to find in these searches. For our example, we are going to look at fast-moving products in the clothing category. We're not going to specify the brand or a couple brands. We're just going to look at all fast-moving products in the clothing category. And we're just going to work our way down through each of these boxes to understand, which ones we care about, which ones we can skip over. In this bottom right corner, it's going to show you the amount of products your search has defined. And the goal is to get that between anywhere from 100 to a couple thousand products, right? We don't want to search that's only going to give us 50 products because that probably means that it's too defined and we're narrowing it down way too much and we're leaving out a bunch of profitable products. And then if it's too large, it's just going to take forever to get through. And maybe you need to narrow down your criteria a little bit further. So what I like to do is keep the sales rank fairly low, right? In the clothing category, if you're under a 50 to 75K rank, we know that it's going to move pretty quickly. So we're going to go as low as 50K. A lot of the items in the clothing category are not, wholesale. They're not private label. So for example, let's say in the beauty category, you might want to set this lower limit to 5,000 because we're going to weed out a bunch of the, private label beauty products or the wholesale beauty products that sell really quickly. But obviously we won't be able to, source those profitably. So for now, we can leave off the lower limit of sales rank because we want to go as low as possible. As you can see, our current product filter gives us over 10 million products. So you can see as we keep adding things, that number should continue to drop and hopefully hit our sweet spot. If you wanted to, we can look at 30-day averages, 90-day averages. I like to look at current price. If we wanted to look at a sales rank that is potentially dropping over time, right? We could say our maximum here is 100K, and then the current is sitting at 50,000, which means maybe in the last 90 days, it was a little bit higher, but it is downtrending. That doesn't change our products a whole lot, right? Got rid of about 1 million products. So like I said, modifying these, categories farther along the line doesn't really matter a whole lot. I like to look at the current sales ranks and prices. So if we go down to buy box, this is the buy box price, right? This is the price we're looking at of the products that have a buy box. For me, this is a personal preference, but I like to put a minimum. We're looking at a ton of products, and some of these products with a low buy box, especially in the clothing category, whether that's going to be sandals or kids shirts or shorts, whatever it is, we want to make sure that we're finding products that we even have a chance at finding profitably. So if you don't put a lower limit, it's going to find products that have a buy box of 10, and you're going to need a $1 max cost to even find it profitably. Well, what clothing item are you going to find for $1? Probably none. So the goal is to weed out some of those really low-level products or anything that's tanked. A max cost of a current buy box price of $20 is going to be like $6 or $7. And there's not a ton of clothing items, again, in that $6 to $7 range. So $25 gives us, a max cost around that $10 to $12, which gives us a little bit more options. You can see when I put that 25 in, we went from 10 million products down to 3.5 million. So we're getting a little bit closer. If you wanted to, you can put this at 20. You can set it to 30 if you want to look at only specific higher ticket items like a $50 minimum and then no maximum. Or if you don't want to look at the products that are sitting at like $200, right? Maybe there's like some real unrealistically priced items that are sitting at a super high buy box, like certain color variations. Maybe someone has a backpack listed at $200 or $175, and you don't want to include those because they don't sell very often. Definitely can put an upper limit there. As you can see, it didn't really change our number a whole lot. There was a couple 100,000 products, so maybe it's worth keeping that in there just to weed out, like I said, some of those really high priced shoes that are some weird color variation that really are never going to sell. If If we scroll down, Amazon price, right? We don't want to check the Amazon out of stock box. If we do, we weed out a bunch of products, but there's a section farther along where we can choose the amount of time Amazon is out of stock, and we can change that. I'd like to have a small range, right? If Amazon is in stock some of the time, but not all of the time, those are listings that we could potentially sell on and have really good opportunity for, getting a lot of sales. But if we completely weed out all the products that Amazon's on, you'll see in some clothing when you source enough products that Amazon might have been on a Nike listing for 1 minute or 1 day, right, of the last 6 months. And if you say out of stock, well, any of those listings that, Amazon just had some laying around in inventory and they sold one of them, you're going to remove that listing from the search. So we don't want to weed out unnecessary products just because the filter is not set correctly. So we'll leave this unchecked for now. The rest of these we don't really care about. The buy box price is the most important one. So that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to scroll all the way down to title, brand, and more. Again, we want to look at that clothing category, so we can scroll all the way down to clothing, shoes, and jewelry. Narrowed our search a little bit more, which is nice, right? We were looking at all of the products under 50K rank above $25 buy box. Now we're just looking at those types of products in the clothing category. Again, if you wanted to do subcategories, you can do that here. You can exclude certain subcategories. If you wanted to exclude shoes, right, we can do that. If you wanted to exclude clothing or jewelry, we can do that as well. In this section, we can specify by specific brand. So let's say you're manually sourcing and you find one brand that is really good for you on a Walgreens, right? And you want to look at more of those products. Well, in Keepa Product Finder, we can specify that brand here. And we can look at all of the Amazon listings of that specific brand and see, if other sellers are selling those, and then we can reverse source off of that. So that's an idea here. Again, for our scenario, we don't really care about soloing out certain brands like a Nike or Adidas. We're going to look at all clothing. Because we don't want to weed out, certain shoe brands that might be profitable or other clothing brands that we never thought to look at. So I'm going to leave this blank for now. Okay, so now we're at the new offer count section. This one's important because, there is some strategy to selecting how many offers that you're willing to look at. So again, the current offer count, we don't really want a lower limit because, again, there's not a lot of wholesale or private label products in the clothing category that we care about. If we exclude, 2 sellers, right? Maybe there's some items that are really close to being out of stock, but it's a good, Nike product, and Nike is not going to be a wholesale or a private label product. It's going to be all online arbitrage sellers. So we don't want to exclude those products in this specific category, but we might want to put an upper limit. If we exclude, offer counts over 100 sellers or, over 50 sellers, right? We're going to only look for products that have low competition and that are fast moving. All these things are going to help us determine a list of products that we think have the best chance of being profitable. One thing you could do is do the same thing I discussed with sales rank, is you could have a 90-day average offer count, and then you could have a lower current offer count, which would display a dropping offer count, right? The offer count has decreased from the 90-day average down to what the current offer count is. So that is something we could look at as well. Let's say we only wanted a current offer count of 25, but the 90-day average, we didn't care if it was, at 75. So this shows that the 90-day average was 75. We are down in the 25 range or less. That should weed out a couple of products, but I'm not going to do that for now because it didn't really make a major change. Again, we don't care about used offer count, anything like that. So we're going to scroll on to the next section. This section is really cool. We're not going to use it now, but you can find a list of sellers, right? If you found, some seller IDs or storefronts that you really like, you can select the seller ID and paste in their storefront IDs and specifically look at those storefronts. If you find a couple storefronts that you really like and have a ton of products, you don't want to go through those manually, you can have it here. This is going to weed out any of the bad products they might have on their storefront and only look at the ones that fit your specific criteria from Keepa Product Finder. Right now, we're just going to look at all products because that's what we care about, and we're going to scroll down further. You can also exclude certain storefronts. There's going to be vitamin listings where, some of those really big wholesale vitamin sellers are on those listings. You can exclude those seller IDs. And then it's only going to find these listings that don't have those big sellers on them. You'll have a better chance that that's an OA product and you'll be able to find it profitable. For clothing, we don't really have those, so we don't care about that. Okay, so if you scroll down farther, we have this 90-day out of stock percentage, and there's a category for Amazon. So what we want is we want Amazon to be out of stock at least 75% of the time. If Amazon is on the listing more than 75% of the time, there's a little bit too much risk of them being on the listing when you want to purchase the product, and then they obviously take a lot of the buy box share. So something we want to avoid. This doesn't remove all products that Amazon is selling on, but eliminates the ones that they are more likely to have the current buy box price on. So we want to put 75 to 100. For ratings, we want to look at products with minimum ratings of at least 3 stars out of 5. Right? If you're looking at a product and it has a lot of bad reviews, maybe people are finding that it's looks counterfeit all the time, or it's always coming damaged. Those are things we want to keep in mind, or the sizes are always incorrect. With clothing, that happens a lot. So we want to maybe avoid those listings because returns might actually destroy all of the profit we're getting on these. And we don't want to sell products like that. We want to avoid those so we can maintain our profit and margin. So a minimum of at least a 3-star rating on every listing is going to hopefully weed out some of those bad or high return products. You can narrow down the amount of reviews that a product has, which might mean that it's been listed for longer, but you don't want to narrow out any products that are still selling fast but don't have a ton of reviews. The rest of the items in this category, the rest of the categories don't really matter, and we don't need to change those. But those are all the things you need to input when trying to search for products on Keepa Product Finder. You can see that our search criteria is a little bit large, over 1 million products to look through. Obviously, we want to narrow that down a little bit further. Some ways we can do that is, again, changing the new offer count, changing how we adapt the numbers over time. We can also add a couple different brands that we want to search for, right? If we wanted to do Adidas as one of the brands, look at that. Already dropped our products by a ton. So there's a ton of products that aren't Adidas that were on the list. But if you know that you want to source Nike or Adidas, then we know that we can really narrow down some of these searches. Definitely play around with some of these numbers, right? If you're finding your searches are too small, maybe open up your sales rank, gives you a little bit more range of products, change your buy box price, change the out of stock Amazon rate, look at specific categories, look at specific brands, and you will find some searches that you can look through. When I click find products here, it brings me to all of those 5,500 and whatever Adidas products. And now I can see, right? I can sort by the lowest rank to the highest rank. I can look at better buy box prices. I can look at the 90-day sales rank averages. Whatever I want to look at, I can sort by, and then I just go down the line, open these in Amazon, or click the link here, and this will just show the Keepa chart. So you can see, right? Oh, size 10, this specific color, you can see sells here. Some of these variation listings, right, we want to make sure that the product that's listed here is an actual good variation and it's going to sell enough times. But then you can close that out, go to the next one, and so on and so forth. If you do this and you find a really nice refined search, you're going to find a lot of different products that you might be able to source profitably. All right, so as you saw, we were able to really hone in on a specific category, find a list of products that we can now sort through or have our VA go through, right? You get a list of 3,000 products. It's going to take you a long time to do it. Send that to your VA, your sourcing VA, and have them parse through each product. Make sure they can't find it profitably. If you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.